Hey guys, so far with our graphic design, you have been looking at Canva and going through some basic design concepts. What we're going to do is we are going to focus on four guiding design elements. If you use these four different elements in your design, you are going to be off to a great start to designing for an audience. And that's the biggest thing, is that we're not designing just for us. We're not thinking, "Oh, I really like this." We want to potentially to be able to sell what we do. We want to be able to have a broad audience like what we've designed. So that's kind of the biggest thing. And our I can statements. I can design for an audience. So let's go ahead and look at what the four guiding design elements are in graphic design. The first one is contrast. There are several different ways that you can show contrast in your design. Two of them would be the biggest, would be fonts and colors. When you are working with your fonts, you typically have a simple font and then a fancier font. Um, the headline font doesn't always have to be the fancy one. Like hello draws your eyes more, but you do have two contrasting fonts. You would not put two fancy fonts together. That's a big no-no. Okay, so that is one way that you can show contrast. The other way would be colors. If you have a design that has a light background, move this over here. If it has a light background, you're going to have a dark foreground or a dark fonts. If you have a dark background, then you are going to have a light foreground. The foreground would be an object or fonts there. This is difficult for students. A lot of times the colors that we like are not really good contrasting colors. A really good example would be red and blue. So let me go get a red circle, and then we'll do a blue circle. First of all, red and blue is a combination. Red and blue like this is what I call an eye bleed combination. If you look at certain colors and you try to focus on them, you will feel your eyes. It's almost like they're shaking, or the colors are shaking. They are not good colors together. But people say, think about like red, white, and blue for our flag, or red, white, and blue on KU uniforms. Well, here's the thing. What usually happens in both of those cases is you have another buffer color. So if I go in here and I add white to the design and I put that between the colors, then you have your contrast. Okay, so you have a dark color with a light color, and then you have a dark color on top of a light color. So it's all layered, but it follows those contrasting rules. So that's how you do that. You outline something, you put a shadow, you do some sort of contrasting color to make those colors work. Okay, so our next thing that we're going to look at is repetition. And repetition is the repeating of design elements. Fonts and colors, again, are pretty much the way. There's other ways to show it, but that's what we're going to focus on. So when you're designing something, you choose 2 to maybe 3 fonts, and you go with that throughout your presentation or throughout your design. So if you look at this, we have all the same colors. It's kind of this little like fadey into, I don't know, tie-dye color. But you have the blue, the pink, orange, and coral. And then you have white, and then here's your blue. Okay, so throughout your presentation, your colors are repeating. Same thing with my fonts. They are repeating in both the font that I chose and the color. Every single one isn't the same, but it follows the same design pattern. So you have that repetition. So far we have contrast and we have repetition. Our third guiding design element is alignment. With alignment, it is purposeful. I could come up here and I could just throw my title somewhere and it would be on the page. But what you want to think about is purposeful placement, and I describe it as being a puzzle. So I come right over here and I could line up my light bulb and my A. Bring the T over here and line it up that way. You could choose to come over here and make it bigger and see how the N is kind of dissected by the yellow. That is purposeful. There are lots of different design choices that you can make, but you need to make a choice and not just throw something on the page. I always look for areas that I can kind of puzzle piece things together, like right here and this area. So that is alignment. Your last guiding design principle is going to be proximity. Proximity shows relationship. So I grabbed the font, the contrasting example, to show you. These are our font contrasting elements. These are our color contrasting elements. So you have your fonts over here and you have your colors over here. So it shows relationship. All of these are dealing with your colors and all of these are dealing with your fonts. So to review: contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. Proximity. If you are that kind of thinker, you might be noticing that it spells out an acronym that has never fails to make me giggle at least a little bit. We use our contrast, alignment, proximity, contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. So we follow CRAP to make sure our designs don't look like crap. Okay? So contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity.